In this section, we're going to be taking a tour of Xcode, the program that we use to make apps. So there's really two parts that we're looking at. We're going to be looking at playgrounds and we're going to be looking at Xcode projects. So in our very first video in this section, we're going to take a look at the playgrounds, specifically when to use them and sort of the basic functionality. We'll dive into this deeper towards the end of the course. So let's go ahead and get to it. So in this section, I'm going to be giving you a guided tour through Xcode. I want you to get really familiar with this piece of software so that you're not stressed out every time that you're using it. And there's a lot going on in Xcode, right? There's a reason that it's 4.55 gigabytes. It does a lot of things. That being said, you can make it through with just using just maybe 10% of what Xcode has to offer. There's some real essential things that you need to be successful with Xcode, and I'm going to teach you those now. So if you haven't already, go ahead and open up Xcode. You should be seeing welcome splash screen. Here you'll see your most recent projects all listed here. You can always just click open another project, or I like to just go into the file system and open up the Xcode projects there. That said, what can you do with this welcome screen? So there's get started with the playground, which this is an awesome place to type and learn Swift code. That's where we're going to be spending the bulk of our time when we're learning Swift. The next one is create a new Xcode project. So an Xcode project is essentially where you build an app. So if you want to make an iPhone app, you'll start a project for that. If you're going to make a Mac app, you're going to make a project for that. If you're going to make an Apple Watch app, a Apple TV app. Isn't it crazy how many different things we can make apps for now in the Apple ecosystem? And the good news is the stuff that you learn in Swift in this iOS course, a lot of that can be translated into these other areas. But that being said, a new Xcode project allows you to make an app for an Apple device. To check out the existing project, if you're using, some code management and stuff, you'll use this. But I'll be honest, I've been an iPhone developer for over 6 years now. I have never used this option when I started up Xcode. So that being said, first let's check out the playground here. I just want you to see what it's like so you can kind of get a feel there. So go ahead and click on this, get started with the playground. And a playground is a place that you can just type some Swift code and see what happens as you type it. So all it does is it creates one file on your system and you can name it whatever you want. That's what it's asking here. So I'm just going to call this my playground, okay? And as for platform, you can choose, iOS, macOS. We are going to be doing iOS code in this course, so let's focus on just iOS here. Then go ahead and hit next, and it's going to ask you where do you want to save this, and I'm just going to go ahead and put our file on the desktop. Okay, so there you can see it showed up already, my playground. I think it's a .playground file. Yep, that's the name of it. And it starts you out with some code inside of here, and it's just showing you, okay, we made this thing called a string, and we're putting in there hello playground. It's just kind of Apple's way to say welcome to this. But you can go ahead and get rid of all of this here. And this white screen is your kind of blank space to start typing some code. So if you want to, something that you can do with Swift is you can do some math. So you could say something like 1 + 3. And as you type this code, you should be seeing some output here on the right. It does take a little bit of time. You'll notice this little ticker up here trying to do that. But eventually you see, hey, 4 shows up. We can do some other math. Let's maybe do 200 divided by 5. And when we do that, we should see the output here on the right. So that's the whole idea behind these playgrounds, is that you write some Swift code inside of here, and the result from that is going to show up here on the right. Now, you don't get this when you're making iPhone apps. So this playground is a little bit more for learning concepts in Swift, testing things out. So that's definitely what we're going to be doing in this course. So just right now, for fun, let's go ahead and write our very first line of Swift code. So I'm going to walk you through all the things first, but and talk about in detail what they are. But for now, just follow me sort of word for word. On a new line, I want you to type var space, so VAR space, and then name space, then the equal sign space. Then we're going to do 2 double quotes. So boom, boom, right? Var space, name space, equal sign space, 2 double quotes. Then inside the double quotes, I want you to type whatever your name is. So I'm going to type Nick inside of there. And congratulations, you just wrote your very first line of Swift code. What did we do? We made a variable called name, and we set it equal to Nick. And for you probably didn't write Nick unless your name is Nick. And if you are Nick, shout out to the Nick Club. But yeah, there you have it. You wrote your very first line, and you can see over here it's showing you, okay, the whole result from this is that you created a variable and it has Nick inside of there, okay? So again, we're going to dive into that, but I just wanted you to be able to write your first line of code there. Now, I would like to show you, my text on the screen here is probably going to look a little bit bigger than yours, and I did this so that you could see what's going on. If you want to change the style of the text or the code inside of Xcode, it's pretty simple to do. So up here, if you just select Xcode from the menu and go to Preferences, there's all sorts of things you can change in here, but go to Fonts and Colors, and here you can choose the different sizes. So, we could do presentation large, which I actually might end up doing just so that you can see this even clearer. But you can see basic, which you were probably defaulted to. This is really small and might not show up in the video, but you can scroll through and see all these different styles here that Apple's developed for you. When I program, not like teaching, but just kind of for fun on my own projects, I really like Midnight. That and Dusk, I kind of switch between the two depending on how intense I want my black background. But yeah, there's presentation large if you're showing something off. Printing, which is just basically makes everything black. There's sunset with yellow, but you can add your own ones on top of here, and you start from a basic version of something else, and you can change things like. So I'm going to add my own duplicate of sunset. I'm going to call this my theme, okay? And inside of here, you know what? I'm going to make it so that the background is now like red or something like that, and the current line is going to be green. So you can totally customize any of these things inside of here to make it your own version of Xcode. That being said, I'm going back to presentation large because I just want to show you sort of what the normal thing is. You can customize whatever you want. So that's probably enough for this video. I'm going to stop here. You've learned now what a playground is in the Xcode world.